All right. Looks like the live stream is firing up. So I want to thank everybody for joining us. I'm Tyler Matthews. I am the Executive Director of Venture Cafe St. Louis. This is another episode of Venture Cafe Live. And these are a series of casual interviews where we like to highlight companies and entrepreneurs, makers, doers, etc. Whether they're expats, they're transplants, they're locals of St. Louis. We just love to hear what people who've been in the city are doing. And our goal is to highlight different initiatives and projects that they're working on, different companies, and hopefully make connections and support the work that people are doing and learn from those entrepreneurs as well. So today I'm really excited to have Justin Donald with us. He is we actually got connected through a mutual friend who I met through Venture Cafe. And when I heard what Justin was working on, I thought that was a great thing. I knew that there's a lot of folks right now that are looking to get into entrepreneurship, looking to build wealth for themselves, and I thought this would be a great opportunity to bring him on the show and talk just a little bit about how to build wealth. As you're an entrepreneur, you know that trading time for money isn't necessarily the way to build wealth. You got to be making money while you're sleeping too. So Justin is a pro at that, and that's what he's been doing. And through the insights that he's developed, and he'll share here in a minute. And so, before we jump right in, Justin, welcome. Thanks for joining us at Venture Cafe, St. Louis.
Hey, Tyler, thanks for having me. It's good to be on the show. And I'm really pleased that we both know Jimmy. And, I've been friends with Jimmy for, I don't know, close to 20 years, 18 to 20 years, somewhere around there. And I used to live in St. Louis. So, feel like I'm back at home.
Right. Yeah. He know a lot of people in the San Diego and the St. Louis startup scene, connected to everybody. So we're happy to have you. So Justin, just to get started, I gave a little bit about what, very vaguely gave an update of what you do. Can you give us about the elevator pitch of what you're working on these days?
Yeah, sure. So I've been an investor for 22 years. I would say as a practitioner, that's what I do. And in some way, shape, or form, I have coached people on how to do it. Part of my journey, I've been an entrepreneur. So I've started companies, I've scaled companies, I've sold companies. I have, part of what I did for a period of time is I coached and advised companies and entrepreneurs on how to grow or how to build different parts out or how to make their company more valuable. And one of the things that always stuck with me is that I didn't want all my eggs in one basket. And that is the same for, the stock market or the business that I'm running. There are very few people that actually get a positive, that it's a positive result at the end that put all of their eggs in one basket. Elon Musk is maybe one of the only people that had just the most killer exit and rolled all his assets into SpaceX and Tesla. And I mean, literally 100% of his profits from PayPal, like everything that the guy has done, he's just rolled into the next thing. And I think the likelihood of succeeding with that plan is not good. I mean, the odds tell us, already that 4% of companies make it beyond a year. So I just wanted to diversify and make sure that I had assets that produced income and really separate my time from making income. And if my time was going to make income, that's all right. It just needed to be something that A, I love doing, and B, was earning me what I felt was reasonable for that amount of time. So what I'd rather do, though, is not have to spend my time doing anything. And that way, instead of having to work, I get to work. And really, that's the thing. It's like buying your time back. You buy freedom. And a lot of people think like, oh, if I just earn more money, I can be more free. Well, no, really what you want is to buy your time back because your time allows you to focus on the people that you want to spend it with, on the passions that you have, and everything else. And it doesn't cost as much as you think. Most people think you have to have millions of dollars in this nest egg approach. And really you don't. You just have to buy some assets that produce income. That way you don't have to be a slave to a job or to your business or to security or to your current lifestyle or anything. So I coach a lot of entrepreneurs on how to. So most of my network are either entrepreneurs that have a big business or entrepreneurs that just exited a big business. My last two clients I brought on all had 9-figure exits. And so for them, it's like their cash burn was so high to live their life because they had a business that supported it. And then that business is gone and they immediately are dipping into principal. And then, on the flip side of the coin, I got other clients that want to sell so bad because they left their job to start a business for freedom and autonomy and agency in their life. But what ended up happening is they became more of a slave to their business than they were. They had better problems because they were making more money, but it caused that, like, the only way the business runs is with them or through them. So, and then there's kind of a trap where, like, ooh, I can make more money if I just work harder. And then you end up working more hours than you worked before when you're trying to get freedom. So, it's kind of a funny thing what us entrepreneurs put ourselves through, but it is what it is.
Yeah, there's that saying, and I'm going to butcher it, but it's something about like, oh goodness. Well, either way, the point of it is that entrepreneurs are kind of crazy because they leave these jobs, these 9-to-5 jobs for freedom, and then they end up working like 80 hours per week, twice as much as they ever were doing before, and usually for less pay. And so, but there's that kind of like, bug or whatever you want to call it that entrepreneurs get, and they have to kind of like have that control. And I would say I'm probably a sucker for that as well. But what you're talking about, so just to make sure I'm clear in understanding this, so when you're talking about being able to build wealth and work on the things that you love doing, is that necessarily saying that you should become an entrepreneur, or are you saying something a little bit different than just that?
Yeah, I'm just saying whatever it is that you want to do. At a certain point, maybe some of your passions are to become an entrepreneur, but maybe your business owns you instead of you owning your business. Maybe you really have golden handcuffs based on the lifestyle that you have and the income you need to make and how many hours you need to put in. So, maybe your passion is your business, or maybe it was and now it isn't. And now you just want a little more time. Or maybe one of your passions is your business, but you want to have time for other passions and other things that are important in life. Maybe gifts that you have and purpose that you can be giving. So more than anything, it's just, I want to teach people freedom of time. If there's a way to have it all. I mean, imagine if you could run your business. First of all, imagine if you didn't have to run any aspect of your business if you didn't want to. Secondly, if you did want to, you could run only what you wanted. And third, you could do it on your time. You could turn it on as long as you want, off as long as you want, go on a 2-month vacation to Europe or Australia or whatever. Only do stuff while your family's sleeping, and then turn it off the moment that they're up and you're hanging out. I mean, that's true autonomy. And that comes from owning your time. And when you own your time, you can own your health. And when you own your health, you can own so many other things.
So how do you do that? And is that what lifestyle investing is?
Yeah. So really, this is like the whole purpose of the book, The Lifestyle Investor, is I get into my 10 commandments of cash flow investing for passive income and financial freedom. So it's my 10 criteria on what I invest in. And these are cash flow investments. So I like to buy assets that produce income. So that way I have, all my lifestyle expenses covered. And when I work on things, it's because I want to work on them. It's not because I have to. It's not because I need to make more. It's because I don't have to make more. Therefore, I can spend my time in exactly what it is that I want to do. And I think that's really important.
So can you share with us a little bit about what some of those 10 commandments are that you talked about?
Sure. Yeah. So, for example, the first one is pretty simple. It's lifestyle first. And it's the most important one because a lot of people invest in a way where it commandeers their time. And if that happens, well, you're already probably so busy in your business anyway, you're not looking for something else to occupy your time. But a lot of people do that, and they might buy real estate that they run and they own, and or other investments that end up being just a heavier lift, and it starts to fall apart, and you've got to jump in and help save it because you invested in an industry that well. That's why you are comfortable with it. Or in a company that starts to fall apart because there's a pandemic or whatever the reason is. So there are ways that you can actively invest and actively be involved with your time, but there are also ways that you can totally passively do it and it doesn't involve any of your time. And those are the ones that I like. And different stages in life, your time is more valuable. But at a certain point in time, I think everyone recognizes, if you talk to people who are on their deathbed, they'll tell you that the thing that they value most is, the time that they have left and the people and relationships that they have. So to me, it's like, well, let's rewind and let's do that now and not have those regrets later. So that's what lifestyle first is. I could go through, a couple more. One of them is reduce the risk. That's the second one. And that one is, pretty much what Warren Buffett says, don't lose money. So how do you protect your investment? And how do you do it in a way where you can still get a good return? And if you do lose, maybe you lose a little bit, but you're not going to lose everything. If you invest in the stock market and you pick the next hot stock, you can lose it all because those stocks go to zero. And I've seen it happen. And it's happened to me. So that is the reality. But if you buy an asset that has some intrinsic value, like real estate, like an operating company, like, maybe you even have, there are a lot of cool, unique structures we could get into, but basically something that isn't going to go to zero. There's protection in that. And then there are ways that you can structure deals to even protect against loss or to be in a first position or a senior secured position. So if anything does go wrong, you're the first to get paid out. So there are a lot of ways to protect it so you don't lose money. Because if you lose it, you got to work twice as hard to get it back, and you forever lose the opportunity on that money. That's a lost opportunity cost. And I'll give you one more, which is commandment number 3, and that's find invisible deals. And this is one of my specialties. I love finding deals that no one knows about. I like off-market deals. I like companies that no one knows are for sale and they're not really for sale. You just make an offer, and that offer is good enough that they want to sell, or they want to sell a part of it. Or maybe you have relationships that allow you to get into deals that only institutional players are typically in. That's something like with my mastermind and my, private clients, we get access to all these, deals like this. And I often will negotiate preferred terms because maybe I'm bringing in a group that is a substantial amount of money to them. And they say, all right, well, you're helping us out. And I'll just say, what's the best terms you can give us? Because we don't want to participate at retail prices. And so, 99% of the time, whatever deal we invest in, we get preferred terms. We get a reduction in the minimum. We get, reduced fees. We get better returns, better kickers, all kinds of stuff.
So if you're going to do this kind of investing, do you have to have, how much money do you have to put in this? You have to already be wealthy to get involved in this kind of thing. How can anybody get involved?
Well, it really depends. It depends on the deal, and it depends on how you negotiate. There are a ton of deals that I've done with little to no money down because of the way that we structured it and because of the comfort that maybe a seller had in the business, or maybe they wanted, maybe there was some strategic advantage to, me or my network being in where I was able to negotiate, some pretty killer terms. So there's always ways that you can de-risk it and also minimize it. And sometimes it's like investing, but setting up an accelerated distribution schedule. So maybe I invest in your company, Tyler, and you needed quick cash to be able to scale, but we negotiate that I get an 80% distribution of, the profits until my initial investment is paid back. And then it goes back to normal, or maybe it's half or whatever it is. That's just a way I can get paid back quickly so that I don't have as much risk in the deal. And so sometimes it can be, a small investment. Sometimes it can be a large investment. But I've done it with one of my best deals I've ever done cost me $0. And it's literally to this day, still one of the best returns I've ever had, over a 2,000% return.
So one of the last questions I have here, and then I might turn it over to you for anything else, but how do you find some of these invisible deals? You mentioned you have a mastermind that you've set up. So you've put in a lot of work up front to be able to get access to those. Is that the kind of non-scalable work you have to do to get access to these networks?
Yeah, so you can look at it kind of like there are, for me, I have years of relationships, and I have a pretty extensive network. And so I love to connect people. And, when someone needs a favor, I'm happy to say, hey, you should talk to this person. And over time, you build up loyal fans that say, hey, I've got a deal. I'm bringing it to you first because I feel like I owe you. Not that anyone owes me. No one owes me. I never, I'm not like the Godfather that, is keeping people in their debt. But, when you do good things for people and they know that you're not benefiting from it, you're just trying to help out, they tend to want to, there's that reciprocal, desire to give back. And so I've got a lot of people over the years that have done that. I mean, some of it is being in the right circles, knowing the right people. Some of it's like pay to play. You're part of a certain group. You have a certain, let's call it investor card that gives you access. Sometimes it's you are already in the deal, so now you have an opportunity to do another investment, or they ask you first, or you've invested with people and it went so well and they appreciated your expertise and help beyond just the money that they come back to you. And that, that's something that I do a lot too, where I have repeat, business owners and companies that either want follow-on investment or start new companies and reach out first and say, hey, I want to start with you. What do you want to do?
Yeah. Yeah, it seems like the give first mentality, which I actually see a lot of in the startup community and entrepreneurship space, definitely seems to work out. And it's just one of those principles that just works, which is good. So let's see here. Any other final comments here before we wrap up and close the live stream down and then focus back on our private Q&A with Venture Cafe members?
Sure. I just think this is a great season. If you're ever going to start investing in something other than your own business, which I think is good. I think it's good to diversify. It's good to feed your business as much as your business needs, but your business will take everything if you let it. So you got to be careful, so, and I've been there. I know this. I've invested everything in my business for periods of my life, and times where it did work out and times where it didn't work out. So I know this firsthand, but I just think right now in this time, I'm seeing better deals than I've ever seen before. I'm able to negotiate better terms than I've ever seen. I mean, some of the deals that I'm doing, I tell professional investors about and they laugh and there's no way that's even possible. And they don't believe me until I show them a contract, because right now everything's on the table. And this isn't like I'm out to get someone. This is like, hey, we're going to die. So we're happy to create whatever terms are good for you. And we want to build it with you. That's really what's happening. And it's been outstanding. So we've been able to form some really cool partnerships with some companies just based on the fact that they're in dire straits and we're able to help support them, but we're able to help support them with more than just money. We're able to help support them with our networks and with experience and expertise behind it. So it really is a win-win.
So how can people learn more about what you're doing? I'm sure you have a website. You mentioned that you're working on a book. Where can we find out more?
Yeah, so the book actually just went live this week. So we're officially in launch week. So it's called The Lifestyle Investor. So you can actually find it at lifestyleinvestor.com/book or justindonald.com/book. So that, and by the way, all proceeds of the book go to charity. I'm supporting a charity called Love Justice International that is set up to stop human trafficking. And they're located in 17 countries around the world and just an incredible group. So I'm not going to see a dime of it. I just want to pay it forward to, I want the education to be helping people gain financial freedom, but I want the actual proceeds to be benefiting those who don't even have their basic human freedoms. So, that's there. And I've got a bunch of other cool stuff on the website too. I've got an online course. I've got a master class, the mastermind. It's kind of high level. I mean, once you get into the higher tier, I mean, this is a group of individuals that play the game of life at a very high level. So it may not be the right fit for everyone on the mastermind or private coaching. But, all the other products are great. And I've got a ton of free stuff on there. So I'm excited about helping people and furthering their education and their opportunities to gain freedom in their world and really live a life by design, not a life by default. Most people kind of are on autopilot, and then there's this problem and they put it out, and then they go to this problem, and then they put it out, and then they get home with their family and they're worn out and they don't have good energy. And like that to me is not a life. That's like, you're enslaved. I'd rather see people that are winning at that, where they come home renewed and refreshed and They've got great energy for their family, and they're not slaves to anything because they've got great income, and they're making a life by design, and they're being proactive versus reactive. They're planning what they want versus just going on autopilot through the day.
Yeah, well, that's terrific. That's great work. I'm sure it's satisfying work as well. So thanks, Justin. We're going to turn the live stream off here. Appreciate it. So to everyone watching live, thanks. We'll see you next week. And